Hey y'all, so I want to share this dream with you guys that the Lord gave me on Saturday, which was September 13th. Don't mind this patch. It's not a smoker's patch, it's an energy patch. I needed this morning, okay? I'm also still in my jammies because I work from home and sometimes I don't feel like getting dressed, so don't judge, just listen, okay? I don't know who this word is for, but take this word to God, take me to God, as I always tell you. I just know that it's on God's heart right now, and I need to share it with whomever it's for, okay? And he's showing his heart in this hour for some of his sons that are dealing with this, okay? So in this dream, I saw a man who kept trying to take his own life over and over. I won't use the S word because that's like, YouTube will flag it. So we'll say trying to take his life. Every time it happened, someone would call the police, the ambulance would come, they would take him over to like a psych ward or some kind of place for help. He'd be released out of this psych ward, and then the cycle just kept repeating itself over and over. So it was like the same thing, right? As I was watching this, I heard God begin to speak to me. And one of the things he said that really stuck with me, and I felt like such an urgency on it and such an importance highlighted on it, he said he was a fact checker. He was telling me about the young man that was going through this in the dream, and he said he was a fact checker. And I felt God really highlighting strongly this man being a fact checker. So what God said in his fullness, he said before he went into this psych ward or this place of help, I can't remember which it was, God said he was a fact checker. He was smart. He was sharp. He was discerning, right? And God was speaking to me and highlighting all the good things about this man before he went into this so-called place of help, right? God calling him a fact checker, this means that he's referring to a man that would look into things. He didn't doubt easily. He was strong in his mind. This man was wired for truth. He sought out facts and wouldn't just believe anything thrown at him, right? And that's important because in the spirit realm, a fact checker isn't just about verifying information. It's about discerning. So God was highlighting that before this man went into this place of help, quote unquote, he was discerning. It's about being able to separate truth from lies, to weigh what's real against what's false, and to guard his heart against deception, right? People with this kind of gift are often used by God to protect others from being misled. But in this dream, this man was the vulnerable one, the misled one, because he didn't feel worthy of living, okay? But then God kept speaking, and he said the man that comes out of this psych ward, this place of help, isn't the same person. He's weaker. He's vulnerable. He's not as strong as he used to be. I heard God saying all of this. Okay. And God showed me a shift. The same man who was once a fact checker, God called him a fact checker, once mentally strong and anchored in truth, had become a broken and fragile person. The enemy had targeted the very gift that made him strong. And I believe what God is showing in this dream is this, and I don't know who this is for, so like I said, take this to God, take me to God. But you never know a person's story. You may look and think that this person has access to all the help that they need, okay? But what if you're really the divine help that God has sent? You may look at someone and think they're intelligent. They've got it together, the money, the cars, the house. They're muscular and strong on the outside. This man is muscular, strong, built, right? But what you don't know is there was a turning point. You didn't see the attacks that the enemy throws at this person on a daily basis, the battles of their mind, the cycles that they're caught in all the time. The very thing that once made them strong often becomes the place that the enemy attacks most, the place that the enemy wages the heaviest war against. And the fact that God showed me this person as a man is very important because a lot of his sons, men in general, are looked at as the strong ones, the protectors, the one who carries the big roles, right? The ones who stand in leadership. But God is clearly highlighting in this dream the vulnerable side of his sons. He's showing us that even the ones who look strong on the outside can be crumbling on the inside. And they are seeking help, but that help isn't in the right place, right? And this isn't just about actual like suicide attempts, right? Though that's very real, and this has a lot to play with that as well. But this is also about the spiritual side of things. It's about men who are spiritually trying to survive, who are trying to build themselves up spiritually, who may be alive physically, but internally they're dying because of the weight of what they're carrying. And a lot of them don't talk about it because, again, they're looked at as the strong ones, right? And here's the call for those of us who carry discernment, especially women, God's daughters. When we sense weakness in a man, sometimes we're tempted to respond with frustration, especially if it's a continuing cycle. We respond in frustration, anger, or even judgment because of how their actions may have affected us. But God is saying, no, this is not the time to judge. It's the time to stand in the gap. He's calling you to have a heart of compassion for his sons in this hour. And I don't know who needs to hear this. He's calling you to intercede for the very ones that appear strong, but they're secretly weak. Because the discernment he gives us isn't to expose them, right? It's not to expose them, to judge them. It's to cover them. It's to pray until you start seeing a change, until you start seeing a restored heart, a restored mind, a new heart, right? Ezekiel 22:30 says, this is God speaking. He says, I looked for someone among them who would build up the wall and stand before me in the gap on behalf of the land so that I would not destroy it. But God says, I found no one. I found no one. This is God's voice being delivered through the prophet Ezekiel in this verse. And God is expressing his longing for an intercessor, someone who would stand in the gap, someone who would build up and not tear down, to plead for the people so that his judgment would be held back. In that time, to build up the wall meant restoring protection and strength for the people. And to stand in the gap meant stepping into broken places as a defender, someone willing to intercede between the people and God's judgment. But God lamented that he couldn't find anyone. So are you that person that God is speaking to right now? And if it is, you know exactly who that person is that he's telling you to stand in the gap for. I believe this connects directly to what God is showing in this dream. He is highlighting the need for people, especially his daughters that have a high level of discernment, to rise up as intercessors, to see the brokenness in his sons, not as a reason to condemn them, but as a reason to cover them. Galatians 6 tells us to carry each other's burdens so that in this way we will fulfill the law of Jesus Christ. This is what this dream is pointing to. We're reminded in scripture also that God's power is made perfect in weakness. He reveals weakness to us in other people, not to shame them, but so that his strength can rise up in that place. So this is the heart of what God is saying. Don't assume strength means that someone isn't fighting a battle. Don't assume that what you see on the outside, them in the cars, the houses, them having it all together, their post on social media that makes it look like everything is fine. Don't confuse that with what God is really showing you. And don't let your discernment turn into judgment. Use your discernment to intercede. This is a call to compassion, a call to cover his sons in prayer, a call to stand in the gap for the ones who secretly struggle so that they don't collapse under the weight of the enemy's attack. This is a really deep word. Really deep word. Behind every strong appearance, there could be a silent battle for survival. And God is asking you, will you pray? Will you cover? Will you intercede instead of judge for his sons in this hour? So I just wanted to share that with y'all. I don't know who needed to hear that today. Maybe it's confirmation for somebody. If it is, you'll know exactly who God is speaking to you about in this hour. And don't comment, oh yeah, I know God is speaking about my prodigal, my this, my that. They're not yours. He's speaking about his sons. They belong to him. This is not about you in a relationship. This is about restoring their hearts to God so that whatever God's will for, whatever God has for them, whatever his will for their lives is, it will roll out like the red carpet, but it starts with a restored heart first. So if you're a part of the will that God has for their life, that relationship will be. But I feel like some of you guys are so selfish when you comment, my prodigal, my husband, my this, my that. They don't belong to you. And if God called you to be a wife to this person, your wife duties, they're for here on earth. That's temporary. There's no marriage in heaven. That's Bible. Your marriage is for here. It's for the earth to accomplish God's purposes. But this person does not belong to you. Take you out of it for a second and really understand what God is showing you. Understand God's heart right now for his sons and what he's speaking about. This has nothing to do with your wedding plans or your marriage and this and that. This has everything to do with their marriage to God being restored, with them coming as one with God, coming into a unity with God, so that whatever God's will for their lives is will begin to play out, so that you can help them to trample on the serpent, on Satan and his minions and the attacks that are coming against them. So I pray that this blesses who it's for. I love you guys. Happy Monday, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.